Hello guys, welcome back to another video here on my channel. My name is Drielle, for those who don't know me, and I teach English. If you're not a subscriber, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button so you will help me a lot by doing that. Also, I'm gonna leave all my social media links in the description box down below, my Instagram link, my blog link, my podcast link, so just make sure that you check those out at the end of this video, and then you also follow me on those platforms because I do teach English there, sometimes daily or weekly. So just make sure you're there following and learning more English. In today's video, as you could read by the title, we're gonna be talking about Thanksgiving and the history of Thanksgiving. Have you asked yourself why Americans and other nationalities celebrate Thanksgiving, but maybe not yours? I know that in Brazil we don't celebrate Thanksgiving. I didn't know why, but because I studied for this topic, now I know that it's part of their history. So that's what we're gonna learn today. As we go, I'm gonna try to explain new terms, new words, and new vocabulary. I'm going to try to put some images there so it can be more clear to you. And if you do have any questions, don't hesitate and leave them on the comment section down below. I'm gonna read and answer you all. So without further ado, let's go to our presentation. Yes, I did prepare a presentation for you guys, so let's go. Okay, so let's talk about Thanksgiving and this holiday, national holiday here in the USA. So every year in the USA, they do celebrate Thanksgiving. It's a national holiday, so people have a day off work, meaning that they don't have to work. They don't usually work. Some stores are closed during the holiday, and it's very important to them. So I am married to an American. Even though I'm Brazilian, I am married to an American, and his family celebrate Thanksgiving. So this Thursday, I get to go again and celebrate with them. But Thanksgiving food is not one of my favorite food, and you will see why. But let's jump into it and see why they celebrate. Why is this holiday so important? So actually, Thanksgiving is celebrated by not only the USA, but also Canada, Grenada, I think that's how you say it, Liberia, and St. Lucia. In all these countries, Thanksgiving is celebrated. But some say that it all started in Plymouth, Massachusetts. So when you research the topic Thanksgiving on Google, many websites give you the information that it started in Plymouth with the Pilgrims of Plymouth. But it's actually not quite. But before you ask me, I'm gonna answer, what are pilgrims? So pilgrims is a person or a group of people that move to a different place for religious purposes. Here in the definition that I found on the website on Google, it says that they move to a sacred place for religious reasons, but it's not really because it's a sacred place, but really for religious reasons. So the Pilgrims, they were English settlers. So settlers, again, it's a person who moves with a group of others to live in a certain area. So that's why they're called settlers. And if you think about it, settlers, they set in one place and they live there. They start building their lives there. So that's how I picture settlers. People that move to a different place and they get settled in this place and they start building their lives there. They start like raising cows, cattle, animals. They start building buildings. And so that's what settlers mean. So this group of English settlers, they came to America for religious freedom. So actually in England at the time, there was a religion that was followed and they didn't want to get involved with that religion. And I think because back then things were so strict that they decided to move to America so they could be free from that religion. So they jumped on a boat and they crossed the ocean and got to Massachusetts, which is a very hard name to pronounce. Massachusetts. Now I know because I practiced a lot. Can you say it? Massachusetts. So they went to Massachusetts because they didn't want to join the church that was very popular and common in England. That's why they're called the Pilgrims of Massachusetts. But when they got in Massachusetts, I don't think they knew how to hunt, how to survive. So these are pilgrims. So people think that it all started here. I'm gonna tell you the story in just a second, but it goes way back. So these pilgrims are English people, right? So they are carrying with them English, British traditions. So back then there was a king called King Henry eighth. King Henry VIII. And at that time, it was common for people to give thanks. They would give thanks because they were for their victorious battles. They would give thanks because the drought would end with rain. So they just had the custom of stopping a day and giving thanks for the blessings they had throughout that year. So the tradition started really way back then. So when the Pilgrims got to Massachusetts, they carried with them those traditions. But what happened is that there was a severe winter in 1620, and this severe winter killed almost half of those pilgrims. And it was very tragic, right? So there is a tribe called Wampanoag, I think that's how you call it, Wampanoag. And they saw this happening. They felt very sorry for those pilgrims, and they decided to teach the pilgrims how to fish, to plant, and to hunt. If you're not familiar with those verbs, to fish is when you catch fishes from the sea or the river. To plant is to put a seed into the soil and grow it. And to hunt is to get a gun or some kind of weapon and go for animals and sometimes humans. Not my favorite. I don't like fishing or hunting. I'm a vegetarian, so let's plant. But at the time, they didn't have this massive industry that we have today. So they did have to hunt and plant for having food and just surviving in general. So this tribe Wampanoag taught them how to do this, and they were very grateful. So the following winter, the Pilgrims actually got enough food for the winter, and they were so thankful that they prepared and invited the tribe Wampanoag for a feast, a huge celebration. A feast is when you have a lot of food. A lot of food. Like, dude, you can feed an army. You have just a lot of food. So they prepared this feast and invited the Wampanoag to celebrate and honor them as a thank you for helping us to survive and not die during the winter. And that's when the tradition of Thanksgiving started. It is believed that the feast was mainly birds and maybe turkey or just I don't know what kind of bird. Like, it can be a chicken because a chicken is a bird. But they don't know for sure what they ate in that first feast here in the USA. So here, I just put a picture for you. It's not a really good picture of a feast. But this feast actually lasted for 3 days. So they celebrated for 3 days. So they had enough food to celebrate for 3 days and also have enough to survive the winter, which is like 3-4 months. Especially in Massachusetts. If you don't know, Massachusetts is a very cold state. So every winter they get a lot of snow. It's very severe. So at a time when they didn't have a lot of resources, they didn't have all we have today, clothing, heater, and grocery stores, they actually struggled. But because the tribe Wampanoag helped them, they were able to survive the winters. And I think that's just very nice of this tribe to help them. They didn't have to, but something inside them just touched and moved them, and they were like, yeah, let's help these people not to die again this following winter. So that's what they did. So Thanksgiving is a time to give thanks, right? But over the years, this tradition got lost. So first, they say that it started in England, and then the Pilgrims brought it to America. But over time, this tradition was lost, and it was just celebrated as a way to give thanks. But due to religious purposes, not only it was not connected anymore to the Wampanoags and the Pilgrims. It was just a day to give thanks for religious purposes. So every fall, the governor of each colony, and if you're not familiar with this, so back then, America was ruled by the English. And so at the time, America was not free from them yet. So every fall, the governor of each colony declared days of giving thanks to bountiful harvests victorious battles, or for the end of droughts. So here they used to give thanks and then to bountiful to have like a large amount of harvest. And when you harvest, you're actually getting those plants that you planted, and you're getting them out to eat and consume. So they're ready to be consumed. So that's what harvest means. But in 1777, was decreed that all 13 of America's colonies would celebrate a day of giving thanks because their victory over the British Saratoga. So there is a Saratoga War where the Americans were trying to get free from the British, from England, and they actually won that battle. So they became free. And as a remembrance, as a mark, they started celebrating Thanksgiving to celebrate their freedom from England. So although they celebrated Thanksgiving, also there wasn't a specific date. It would vary by days and months. It wasn't very specific. So there's a lady called Sarah Joseph Hale. This lady right here, she was a writer and she was an advocate of making Thanksgiving a national holiday. And she started protesting. She decided to write a document protesting so she would have Thanksgiving become an official holiday here in the USA. Her reasons were that she thought that celebrating Thanksgiving would unify the people that were heading towards the war. So back then there were several wars, and she just thought that would be nice for the people to have a break from that and just have hope. So she advocated for that. And the president, Abraham Lincoln, at a time, finally listened to her and officialized Thanksgiving as a national holiday. And he saw this holiday as a unifying potential. So he really believed in Sarah Joseph Hale, and he believed that she was right, so that's why he officialized. So in 1863, he declared that the last Thursday of November to be the Thanksgiving Day. So Abraham Lincoln was the one who made Thanksgiving an official holiday here in the USA. So every last Thursday in November, it's when Americans celebrate Thanksgiving. But different countries celebrate, they have their own history, but it all started with an British person going to this country and then just bringing the tradition with him or with her. So that's why many countries have the traditions. Like we didn't have anyone from England at a time in going to Brazil. I mean, we did have, but they didn't carry those traditions with them. So that's why some countries don't have it. And because, Thanksgiving celebrated in different countries, there are different dates. So here in the USA, last Thursday of November. In Canada, it's the second Monday of October, and in Liberia, the fourth Thursday of November. And Thanksgiving is a time to be thankful for all the blessings of the past year. So you're celebrating all the blessings you had throughout last year. So maybe that's just the small blessings, the big blessings, a time to give thanks. And I think that's so important because we usually complain so much about life. We don't understand why bad things happen when you complain, and it's kind of hard when you're struggling. It's kind of hard to see the silver lining, to see the good things about it, and to see that you were blessed somehow. And just taking a day to celebrate and being thankful, I think it's very important and very healthy as well. But what is the traditional food? So here in the America, it's tradition that every Thanksgiving people cook and eat turkey, stuffing, which is like a type of breading, and sometimes it has chicken. There is the green bean casserole, which I really don't like. They have the sweet mashed potatoes, gravy, which is this like brown liquidy thing that you put over your meat, cranberry sauce, pumpkin pie, and then the dinner rolls, which are this like East rolls. Are kind of yummy. So that's why I don't like Thanksgiving food, because it has meat. I don't eat meat, and everything is kind of sweet. So the green bean casserole is kind of sweet. The mashed potatoes are super sweet. The cranberry sauce is sweet. The pumpkin pie, and also it's very common, the pecan pie, which is also sweet. And the rolls are not very savory, so they're like in between sweet and salty. They're really good, but it's super sweet. It's a super sweet food. And because I don't eat meat, I am restricted to green bean casserole, sweet mashed potatoes, cranberry sauce, and the pies. So leave in the comments down below here if your country follows the tradition, and if it does, what do you usually eat for Thanksgiving. Now, if your country doesn't follow the tradition, let me know in the comments down below if you like this type of food, if you would like to try it maybe, or if you're just like me, like, nope, I'll pass that food, but I'll keep the tradition. So I was actually talking to Alex because we're planning to have babies in the future, and I am Brazilian, he's American. I understand that Thanksgiving, it's an important holiday, and I want to follow this holiday as well. I want to become part of the American culture. I just want to dive in and be all in, but at the same time, I am a vegetarian, and I think this food here is kind of terrible. So I asked my husband, what do you really like about Thanksgiving food? And he told me that he loves the gravy, and I think the stuffing are his favorite. So maybe, you know, in my house for the future, I'm gonna cook turkey stuffing and gravy. And then the rest, I'm just gonna create a new tradition for my family. But at the same time, like every Thanksgiving, we go to his mother and father's-in-law house, and they actually cook. So I don't do a lot of work. I actually just sometimes help to clean. There are so many people in his family that when you decide to jump in and help, someone else is already helping. So it's kind of crazy, but it's fun at the same time. So when I actually cook, I don't think I'm gonna cook all this. So leave in the comments down below what you thought about Thanksgiving history, if you like it to know about it, if you knew about it, and just leave it here if you have any questions as well. And if you're not a subscriber, don't forget to subscribe. Check the links down below. I do post a new episode on my podcast every Wednesday. I do upload a new blog post every Wednesday. We do have weekly videos here every Thursday, and I post on Instagram pretty much every day, both feed and stories. So if you're not following me on those social media, you're preventing yourself from learning more English with me. Thank you so much for watching and supporting my channel and supporting my work. Leave in the comments down below. I know that I'm asking you a lot of things, but just leave it there. Ways that I can improve. Positive feedbacks are always welcome. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you in the next video. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Bye bye.